It's great to be back with you on Saturday mornings again for our usual mix of fun and faith, deafness and daftness, the och eyes and the gunny nose, pure dead brilliance and just pure nonsense. It's Tea in the Hall, St Andrew's special.
To tea in the hall, come one and come all, from Saturdays at 9. There's no bacon rolls, no scones, no snowballs, and nothing to drink at all. But we will share friendship and fellowship, fun quizzes, some stories, some talk. So mat yer in tea and a biscuit all day, please join us for tea in the hall. All the doors are shut, the church all locked up, there's nothing going on in the hall. But just the same we'll praise God's name, He doesn't change at all. So we'll meet next time in your house and mine to answer to the call. Bring your in cup and come and sup with us, tea in the hall.
And we're going to start off in good St Andrew's night style by getting your feet tapping and your horns clapping.
Hello, this is Ali McRae and I'm going to play for you a set of pipe marches for a Highland Scottish. They are called Tam Bain's Lum and Crossing the Minch. Here we go, take your partners for a Highland Scottish. Happy St Andrew's Day.
And many thanks to Ali McRae for doing that for us. Who's Ali McRae? Well, he's the son of Maggie McRae. And who's Maggie McRae? Well, Maggie was on one of the tea in the halls a few weeks ago. She's very gifted in Scottish singing and in playing Scottish music. Her other claim to fame, I think we said then, was that as Miss Lindsay in 1971, she was a teacher of history at Cumnock Academy, no less, with 40 wains from New Cumnock in one of her first classes. And she's still alive today. And here we have our very own Budgie with a poem of his very own, read by his own good self.
Hi all, a wee thing for your tea in the hall for St Andrew's Night. 30 days has September, April, June and November. The latter's last day, we Scots, I remember. In all parts of Scotland, we all join to recall, and even in New Cumnock, virtual tea in the kirk hall. The Minister Ellen gathers up all these names and sends out some texts to perform in our hames. She's looking for poems or songs or even some jokes for skillwains, shop workers and all different folk. It's all for St Andrew, Patron Saint our land, celebrated through Scotland with a dram in our hand. But this deadly virus that's all round about, things aren't the same, 'cause we can't get out. But that willna stop us, we'll still praise this man. We'll still gather together on Zoom or ony way we can. Some sing Floor of Scotland and some Scots wa hae, men, women and wains all together for St Andrew's Day. So fling on your tartan, your bonnet or scarf and tell us some stories to make us all laugh. So think about something when you're sitting on the cludgie, 'cause that's just what I've done. So here's mine for all Budgie. Cheers, enjoy your night. Thank you.
Thanks, Budgie. I really appreciate you taking the time, not just to say a poem, but actually to make one up, especially for Tea in the Hall St Andrews special. And now it's time for you to take part. And it's quiz time. And our theme this morning is famous Scots. And as always, ask the question, give you some time to think about it, and then give you the answer. There are 10 questions. Number 1, who invented the telephone? Who invented the telephone? The answer is Alexander Graham Bell. Question 2, what did Alexander Fleming discover? What did Alexander Fleming discover? The answer is penicillin. Question 3. Which bank was founded by William Patterson? Which bank was founded by William Patterson? The answer is the Bank of England. Question 4. Who first developed anaesthetics? Who first developed anaesthetics? And the answer is James Simpson. Question 5. Who gives Fahrenheit and Celsius a run for their money? Who gives Fahrenheit and Celsius a run for their money? That's William Kelvin, who also produced a scale for measuring temperature. Question 6. Which Edinburgh coffin polisher polished off 2 Academy Awards? Which Edinburgh coffin polisher polished off 2 Academy Awards? And the answer is Sean Connery. Question 7. Which Dumfries and Galloway blacksmith invented the modern pedal bicycle? Which Dumfries and Galloway blacksmith invented the modern pedal bicycle? And the answer is Kirkpatrick Macmillan. Question 8. Which Scotsman's net worth is worth a mint? Which Scotsman's net worth is worth a mint? And the answer is Andy Murray. Question 9. Which Pfeiffer is known as the father of economics? Which Pfeiffer is known as the father of economics? And that is Adam Smith. Finally, question 10. Which doctor and biologist from Colmars won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1947? Which doctor and biologist from Colmars won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1947? And the answer is William Boyd Orr. He was a nutritionist. He did a lot of work in nutrition, and he founded a lot of international societies which helped to bring people together. Some of these were a wee bit difficult and just a wee bit more cryptic than usual. So I think if you get 7 out of 10, you were doing very well. I hope you noticed that 2 of these folk, William Boyd Orr and Alexander Fleming, both went to the best school in Ayrshire, Kilmarnock Academy. And now we have James McRae playing Irene Meldrum's Welcome to Bon Accord by Scott Skinner. And the fiddle that James was playing was made by his great-great-uncle, Robert Lindsay, when he was living in a rented farm in Drumaston, just outside Whithorn. Obviously, music runs deep in Margaret's family. And what would Tea in the Hall be without a poem from Lottie? And for good measure, that's followed by a poem from Isabel, with a few jokes in between.
The Greatest Place on Earth by Pat Mullaney. The misty glens, the button bens, the bracken and the heather is still the greatest place on earth, even with the weather. Oor Willie, the Bruns, the wee Scots tunes, the Scotsmen in their kilts, the bagpipes playing, kilts all swaying, to bonny Scottish lilts. A salmon's leap, loch wide and deep, a stag on a mountain side, Ben Nevis soaring to the sky, to fill your heart with pride. Scots porridge oats, big fishing boats, a taste of Scotch and malt, fish suppers wrapped in newspaper, with vinegar and salt. For Scots who travel far and wide, around the world you roam, read the wee poem now and then, it makes you think of home.
The Thistle by Linda MacDonald Lewis. In fields of the homeland, or so I'm told, though trampled by clansmen in battles of old, there still grows a plant, wild, majestic and bold, so delightful to look at, but impossible to hold. And oh so long ago, the Danes had this plan, to take a Scotch village and plunder their land, to attack the dried moat. On this they were keen, but a bed of dried thistles was quite unforeseen. The shrieking and crying so loudly rang out, it woke up the Scots, and to arms was their shout. The Scots fell upon them and slew every man, and that's where the fame of the thistle began.
A man was lost in Edinburgh, and he says to the policeman, "Excuse me there, but is there a B&Q in Leith?" "No, sir," the policeman said, "but there are 2 D's and 2 E's in Dundee."
In some Scottish restaurants, they heat the knives. Do you know why? So they can't use too much butter.
The police came to the door and told me my dogs were chasing people on bikes. My dogs don't even have a bike.
There was a recent letter in a newspaper from an Aberdonian which said, "If you print any more jokes about me and mean Scotsmen, I'll stop borrowing your newspaper."
There are 2 seasons in Scotland, June and winter.
Have you heard the rumour that the Grand Canyon was started by a Scotsman who lost a coin in a ditch?
How many Scotsmen does it take to change a light bulb? Och, it's no that dark.
Here's some tunes for St Andrew's Day.
And our story today is the story of Andrew, whose death for his faith in Jesus we remember on the 30th of November. And we're going to use the letters of Andrew's name to help us tell the story of his life. A is for Apostle. Andrew was one of the 12 people who followed Jesus and also took the message of Jesus into the world as part of the early church. N is for number 1. He was Jesus' number 1 disciple, the very first person in the world to actually follow Jesus. In fact, the Eastern Orthodox Church give the title first called to Andrew. But although he was number 1 in being the first disciple to follow the Lord, he then was quite happy to step back and let other people take the limelight. His brother Peter, for example, and the other disciples, he was quite happy to have a back seat. But he loved to bring people to Jesus. He brought his brother Peter to Jesus. He brought some foreigners to Jesus. He brought people in the crowd to Jesus. He saw that as his role, and he didn't need to be the number 1 in the way that we sometimes think about it. D is for death. Andrew died as a martyr because of his faith, and he didn't consider himself worthy to be crucified on the same shape of cross as Jesus was crucified upon, so he chose that X shape for his cross. And that X shape is our letter X, but in Greek that letter is chi, and it's the first letter of the word Christ. That shape of cross, perhaps chosen by Andrew, so that as he died, he would remember his Lord. R means remember, remember. Why do we remember? Why was the 30th of November chosen for St. Andrew's Day? Well, that's because people believe that that was the day that Andrew died. And also in terms of remember, remember, there are a number of other countries who remember St. Andrew on that day. Russia, Romania, Greece. And St. Andrew is the patron saint of a number of different groups of people, fishermen, and singers, and spinsters. E is for eat, as in all you can eat. Because when Jesus asked the disciples to feed the great crowd of people who had come to hear Jesus, it was Andrew who came. He had found a little boy who had 5 loaves and 2 fish, and he brought them to Jesus, and Jesus fed 5,000 people with all they could eat and much left over. And W is perhaps the word why. Why was Andrew chosen as the patron saint of Scotland? Hundreds of years ago, many people prayed not just to Jesus, but they also prayed to saints, to holy people, and Andrew was one of them. And of course, his symbol was that X shape, the cross on which he died, which we know as the saltire. And the story goes that King Angus of Scotland was going into battle against the Picts and the Scots. He was heavily outnumbered by them. And so he prayed to St. Andrew that they would be saved. And when he looked up in the sky, he saw a blue sky with white clouds making the shape of a cross. And after that, St. Andrew was adopted as the patron saint of Scotland. A-N-D-R-E-W, Andrew. It means strong or brave or manly. And Andrew was strong and brave and very human, but his strength came not from any might or physical strength, but from the strength he got from his following of the Lord, that took him through his life and that helped him persevere even in the face of death.
And some of these qualities are mentioned in words written by Ben Kelly for the tune Highland Cathedral. Rise, Caledonia, let your voices ring in this Highland Cathedral of our God and King, whom joy and liberty to all will bring. Come, let your heart with love and courage sing.
I don't know if you can see the changes that have come over me in these last few days. I've been afraid that I might drift away, so I've been telling old stories, singing songs that make me think about where I came from, and that's the reason why I seem so far away today. Oh, let me tell you that I love you, that I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, and now I'm going home. But if I should become a stranger, you know that it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've ever had. Oh, I have moved and kept on moving, proved the points that I needed proving, lost the friends that I needed losing, found others on the way. Oh, and I have tried and kept on trying, stolen dreams, yes, there's no denying. I've travelled hard with conscience flying somewhere in the wind. Oh, and let me tell you that I love you, that I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, and now I'm going home. But if I should become a stranger, you know that it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've ever had. Sitting here before the fire, the empty room, the forest fire, the flames have cooled, don't get any higher, they've withered now, they're gone. But I'm steady thinking my way is clear, and I know what I will do tomorrow. When hands have shaken, kisses flow, well, I will disappear. Oh, and let me tell you that I love you, that I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, and now I'm going home. But if I should become a stranger, you know that it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've ever had.
And many thanks to Kay Mitchell for that beautiful choice of tune and beautiful rendition of Caledonia. Thank you, Kay. And Margaret's up for a story now, a Scottish take on a scriptural story, Noah and his ark.
This was a recitation used to be done by my aunt, Sissy Vance. She called it the flood, but in the book it's the deluge, and it's by W.D. Cocker. The Lord took a stow at mankind, a righteous and natural scunner. They were neither to haud nor to bind, they were frichted nae mair wi' his thunner. They had broken ilk edict and law, they had pitten his saints to the sword, they had worshipped false idols of stane. I will thole it nae mair, saith the Lord. I'm weary wi' flyting at folk, I will dicht them clean out fae my sicht. But Noah, douce man, I will spare, for he etels peer chiel to do recht. So he cried unto Noah ae day, when naebody else was about, saying, Hearken my servant to me, and these my commands carry out. A great muckle boat ye mun build, an ark that'll float heachin dry, wi' room in it for a' your ain folk, and a hantle o' cattle forby. Then tak ye the fowls o' the air, even unto great bubbly jokes, and tak ye the beasts o' the field, whitrocks and fumarts and brooks. Whale ye 2 Gideons o' each, see that nae crater rebels, but dinna fash about the fish, they can look after theirselves. Herd them a' safely aboard, and yence the blue Peter's unfurled, I'll send doon a 40-day flood, and deil tak the rest o' the world. Sae Noah rocht hard at the job, and searched to the earth's furthest borders, and gathered the beasts and the birds, and telt them to ston by for orders. And his sons, Ham and Japheth and Shem, were thrang a' this time at the work. They had felled a wheen trees in the wood, and biggit a great muckle ark. This wasna done just on the quait, and neighbours would whiles gather roun. Then Noah would drap them a hint like, the water is gone to brak doon. But the neighbours wi' evil were blin, and little jaloused what was wrang, saying, that'll be good for the neeps, or, och, the water's been drouthy hour lang. Then Noah wi' a' his ain folk, and the beasts and the birds got aboard, and they steek at the door o' the ark, and they lipped themselves to the Lord. Then doon cam a lashin' o' rain, like the wattest wat day in Lochaber. The hailstanes like plunkers come stoat, and the fields turn to glor and sign glaber. And the burns a' come doon in a spate, and the rivers ran clean ower the haughs, and the brigs were a' souped awa, and what had been dubs became lochs. Then the folk were sair petting about, and they cried as the water got waur, O Lord, ye ken fine we hae sinned, but a joke can be carried ower far. Then they chappit at the ark's muckle door, to speer gin douce Noah had room. But Noah ne'er heeded their cries. He said, this'll learn ye to swim. And the river roared deeply and wide, and the miller was droont in the mill, and the water spread ower the land, and the shepherd was drooned on the hill. But Noah and a' his ain folk kept safe frae the fate o' ill men, till the ark, when the flood had gien ower, cam dunt on the top o' a ben. And the waters rowed back to the seas, and the seas settled down and were calm. And Noah replenished the earth, and they said that he ta'en a good dram.
And many thanks, Maggie, for the story and the song, and for also getting your two sons to share their music with us as well. And we hope you'll come back to another Tea in the Hall in the not too distant future. Thanks to everyone who took part today. We've actually got lots left over for our New Year programme, and we hope to get some other contributions in from you if you can do that sometime in January. Our next special will be a Christmas special on the 13th of December. And again, if you have any poems, songs, jokes that you would like to send in, then please do so. And I haven't forgotten. Hello, it's me, the Reverend I am Jolie. Call me Angelina. Jolie's the French for jolly. Well, if it's no, it's pretty much. And I'm here on this St Andrew's Day to give you all a real lift at this very difficult time. I hope you see I've made a wee bit of an effort. No expense spared. Now, I'm going to give you a wee Scottish quiz. I'm going to spell out some Scottish names, and you have to say, shout out loud what the names are. Here we go. Macrae, McCrae. Maclean, McLean. Macdonald, McDonald. Maclauchlan, McLaughlin. Machinery. And for all these folk that shouted out McHenry, I think you should get all back to your bed, because Machinery spells machinery. I was thinking about some Scotsmen, hearing about some stories about them. And I suppose there's a lot of kind of stereotypes that they're a bit mean, and maybe communication isn't their strongest point. But I was listening about a Scotsman that was in the church, and here he put 50 pence in the plate instead of 5 pence. Well, he'd passed it along before he realised, and he went to the minister and said, "Oh, please, minister, give me the money back, give me the money back." "Nope. You've put it in the plate, and there it will stay. You've given it to the Lord, and there it will be given." Well, the man went away home, off a doing in the dumps. But for the next 9 weeks, when they passed the plate, he passed it on and said, "Season ticket." And there was another Scottish man who put an advert in the paper for a wife. He got 3 phone calls that day. 2 in the afternoon and 1 at night. "Oh," said his sister, "which one did you choose?" "Well, I chose the one that rang at night." "Why did you do that?" she said. "Well, it's just like this. If she is wise enough to phone me at off-peak times, that's the kind of woman I want to be married to." So, it's goodbye from me. And have a good week or say, till I see you again. Au revoir. Ken, this hot water and milk is awful good. Awful good.
God bless.
To tea in the hall, come one and come all, from Saturdays at night. There's no bacon rolls,
scones, no snowballs, and nothing to drink at all. But we will share friendship and fellowship, fun quizzes, some stories, some talk. So mat your in tea and a biscuit all day. Please join us for tea in the hall. All the doors are shut, the church all locked up. There's nothing going on in the hall. But just the same, we'll praise God's name. He doesn't change at all. So we'll meet next time in your house and mine to answer to the call. Bring your in cup and come